Okay, so today I will be presenting on plant collection for research and preservation. But first, let's take a look at the Natural History Museum of Jamaica. The Natural History Museum of Jamaica is the science arm of the Institute of Jamaica. The main aim of the Natural History Museum of Jamaica is to advance scientific research and education by collecting, storing, and maintaining specimens of Jamaica's plants and animals, and educating Jamaicans on the importance of preserving the island's natural history. So, as we will be looking at plants today, let's take a look at botany. So what is botany? Botany is the scientific study of plants. Therefore, a botanist, such as myself, is a scientist who studies plants. But what are plants? Plants are basically multicellular living organisms that make their own food through a process called photosynthesis. There are many different types of plants around us, so we group them based on their similarities. Some of these groups you may know as flowering plants, ferns, and mosses, among many others. Here's a fun fact. So did you know that the common bamboo is a member of the grass family? Bamboos are also among the fastest growing plants in the world, with some bamboos growing up to 35 inches per day. So to imagine this, if you have your regular size ruler, you stack 3 rulers on top of each other, and that is how much a bamboo may grow per day. Did you also know that there is a bamboo that is indigenous to Jamaica called Chuskia abatifolia that flowers once every 31 years? Fun fact for you. Of course, in addition to the many important benefits plants provide us with, such as oxygen, food, and medicine, plants are very interesting, so we love to study them. Plants may be studied for various reasons, including to discover medicinal potential or to discover and document the variation of plants that exist among us. Plants that are collected for scientific interest, exhibitions, preservation, cultural, or historical reasons are kept in a museum such as ours at the Natural History Museum of Jamaica. We store these plants in a place we call a herbarium. Remember that word, herbarium. A herbarium is simply a collection of preserved plants and associated information used in scientific study. Here's another fun fact. The Natural History Museum of Jamaica has the largest herbarium in the English-speaking Caribbean, as it has over 130,000 specimens of plants. The study of finding, identifying, describing, classifying, and naming plants, as well as understanding the geographic distribution of plants, is very important, as we use this information to understand changes due to habitat loss, climate change, and impacts by us humans. Here on the picture, you can also see a road being cut out, which means that vegetation had to be removed for the road to be built. So we sometimes document these plants to know what was growing there. In the unfortunate event that a plant becomes extinct, which means it no longer exists, the specimens preserved in a herbarium may represent the only record of the original distribution of the plant. This is the case for some of Jamaica's plants that have gone extinct. One such plant is called Psidium dumetorium. Through the work of botanists over the years, we have great knowledge of the different types of plants growing in Jamaica, plants that used to be in Jamaica, the different uses of the many plants found in Jamaica, and we also know that there are hundreds of plants in Jamaica that are found nowhere else in this world. These are our endemics, and they form part of our natural treasures that we are most proud of. I would like to encourage us all to do our part in preserving our treasures, our rich biodiversity, so that we can continue to learn, enjoy its benefits, and preserve it for future generations. Thank you for listening. And coming up, we have a little video on documenting how we collect plants for research and preservation. Thank you so much for listening. Here is a video of how plants are collected in the field to be used for scientific research and dry preservation. A botanist expedition must be carefully and thoroughly planned. In order to conserve the biodiversity of the area, one has to collect plants with care, which means that if there are just a few individuals of a plant species in that area, then we have to be careful about how we collect samples. As it is not acceptable to just remember what a plant looks like, field tools such as notebooks, pencils, cameras are necessary to record important information about the plant, such as how common it is in the area, height, its flowers, fruits, or other reproductive parts, colors and sizes, and the habit, that is, how the plant grows, if it is a climbing plant, a creeper, a herb, shrub, or tree. The environment in which a plant grows, in addition to the location and altitude, landform, soil type, and the date are also to be recorded. A hand lens may be necessary to examine smaller details of the plant, and a ruler is also useful for taking measurements for some plants or plant parts. A secateur is needed for cutting specimens. A good collection should have adequate samples of all the plant organs available. A specimen may be tagged before placing them in bags for transport. The type of bag or container used for transport is dependent on the type of plant being collected. Newspaper and a plant press are necessary for pressing plants as soon as it is possible to do so after collection and before wilting and shriveling of the plant occurs. Specimens are pressed flat and dried between sheets of semi-absorbent paper. Often, newspaper is used. Each part of the plant must be carefully arranged, as this stage greatly determines the final appearance of the specimen. The plant specimens are then allowed to dry over time using heat. A microscope may be used to examine the structure of a plant at various stages after collection. As some plant species may only be determined by examining structures not easily seen, this step is sometimes extremely important. When the specimens are deemed to be dry, they are removed from the dryer and may be further examined to accurately identify the plant. Books and other herbarium samples may be used to aid in this process. The features most important for identification vary between different plant groups. After identification, specimen labels are created. The specimen mounted on a herbarium sheet label added, and then accessioned. The specimens are then stored with strict adherence to international standards. Thank you for watching.